should you get a business mentor? And I'm going to go through all 6 considerations I would have and will have before investing in another mentorship, because they need accountability. And this is ridiculous. I really don't think you should be in business, and I don't think you'll win. I really don't think you'll win. I don't care how much they know. I really don't. I don't believe they have the right to tell you what to do. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to answer the question of should you get a business mentor, and I'm going to go through all 6 considerations I would have and will have before investing in another mentorship, working with someone, even if it's on a consultation call, going to masterminds events. These are the things I would think about before going ahead with that, okay? So my experience, I've spent close to 40 grand now on consultancies, mentorships, events. We've traveled to events across the world and been to Alex Hormozi's event at Vegas. We've been to Marbella events. So we've been about, and I've worked in one-to-one mentorships for quite some time as well. Some for a very long time, some for a very short time. The amount I've probably spent is probably more than that, but I don't want to think about it. But the return investment has been huge for me. So for our business, we've scaled PB Academy to over 250 active clients. The gym, totally different business, to over 500 active members. We've built teams in both, and so the return investment from when I initially started into these, learning courses, events, all these different things. And by the way, I don't sell that type of stuff, so this isn't me promoting it. I'm just saying the return I've had, it has worked for me. Some have worked, some haven't worked, but this is now my consideration before going ahead with this. So hopefully, as a business owner, listen to this on the other side of it. If you're still here and you haven't got the attention span of a kid that's been brought up on TikTok, then you should be still here, and hopefully I can give you some clarity to think about before you make that commitment with someone else, okay? So, first thing I'm going to talk about, number 1, is info or accountability. This is different to fitness coaching. So we built PB Academy selling fitness coaching, and a big part of what we would sell is accountability, right? Because a lot of people were looking for that check-in once a week to have the accountability to make sure they were doing the tasks that we've set them to do. And they already knew beforehand. Realistically, most people know they need to control their nutrition and they need to go to the gym to get in shape. But how many people actually successfully do that and hit the targets they need to hit without actually having a coach breathing down their neck, right? So a big part of that is selling the accountability. However, in business, a lot of people still do the same thing. A lot of business owners, especially fitness coaches that are technically business owners, entrepreneurs, basically self-employed, right? A lot of them that are starting off, they invest in business mentorships because they need accountability. And this is ridiculous, in my opinion. Most businesses, bringing you to reality now, when you're working in the business world, you're competing against everyone, and it's a life or death situation. Your business either survives or it dies. And most businesses die within 5 years. So if you have to pay a business mentor to keep you accountable, I really believe you shouldn't be doing that. You can go and get a safe, secure salary where it does not matter if you hit the targets, especially in low effort jobs. It doesn't matter. And if you feel like you can't turn up every single day consistently to do the basic stuff you're meant to do, I really don't think you should be in business, and I don't think you'll win. I really don't think you'll win. The only people I know that are very successful and earn a lot of money and are consistent over the years are the ones that are consistent at doing the tasks they need to do. So if you don't have that element to you, I don't think you should be doing it, and investing into a mentorship definitely won't solve that problem, okay? So to most of you, this shouldn't apply, but a lot of people go searching for that accountability. The reason I say info or accountability is because if it's new information, the same as fitness coaching, a lot of people want to unlock their potential and work with an expert to get to the next level that understands nutrition training like the back of their hand because they love it. Same with business mentorships. If that person has the information that you don't have, so they have something that you may not know even exists, and they can unlock that for you instantly, even in a short conversation. Sometimes they can give you everything in the first conversation, you can go and execute, and it becomes a reality. Then that is a reason to go for mentorship, okay? So that's the things I've taken from mentorships, is the new information I didn't even know existed. It opened my worldview up and changed my life completely. So the second thing is tying into the information, and it has have they actually walked the walk? And this is very, very important, right? A lot of mentorships these days, it's like a pyramid scheme. It's like initially fitness coaches, then becoming coaches who coach coaches, then it's now coaches who coach business coaches who coach coaches that coach coaches. Like it's just crazy, right? And it's becoming this silly pyramid scheme. Now, the caveat to that is, if people have actually walked the walk, they are the best people to work with. You do not want to be working with someone that's just worked on theory. It's the equivalent of me giving you an overweight PT and saying this person is going to get you in shape. They may know everything, right? They may know absolutely everything about training, nutrition. I mean, we know a lot of doctors that are extremely overweight. They'll tell you to, get on a nutrition plan, or you need to sort your health out because you're overweight. But they're overweight themselves. And that's the same thing. So they may know what they're talking about, but actually executing it and implementing it is a different thing altogether. And if they haven't done that themselves, I don't care how much they know. I really don't. I don't believe they have the right to tell you what to do. So I wouldn't invest my money into someone that hasn't literally walked the walk that I am wanting to go down, the path I'm wanting to go down. And the crazy thing about this with the Instagram world and the social media world is they could be running a business. They could be running a successful business, a highly profitable business. But that business model could be selling you on the fact that you can become a successful fitness coach, but I make my money telling you what to do. And I've never done this thing before, for example. So that's how crazy it is. And I really don't, I think it's a scam, to be honest. I don't think people should be able to do that because, yes, they're giving you all the information, but they probably have no idea how to implement and how to go through the reality and the day-to-days that you are going to need to go through to make that work. Whereas myself, who's literally built and scaled a team from zero, taking myself first off to over 100 clients actively, and then building the team. So we went to over 250 active clients and they were managing, and building the sales system and everything to actually run this thing. That's something I went through day to day, and I've literally got a weekly note of every single task I did from the day I started. So I know exactly what I had to go through, and I know the emotions that go along with it. So yeah, and even though I don't do the whole mentoring thing, that is something I should be able to do a lot better than other people because I've literally walked that walk over the years. But anyway, so that's what I would be looking for. I'd be looking for someone that's gone through that same path. And quickly on that, very important. Actually, I'll touch on it later on. The last one is actually the most important as well, by the way. So let's go to the third one. So offer before diagnosis. This is something that is a red flag that you should look for, right? When you're looking at mentorships, let's say you've got 3 lined up. You've got 3 options lined up of potential people you want to work with or inquire with to take you to that next level, okay? If they throw the offer at you straight away and they want to just take your money and go with it, that's a red flag. The only way this should really be done, and the way this opened my eyes, I've always believed in it anyway, because the way we've always taken on even fitness clients is by doing an initial consultation, asking them a ton of questions, right? People look at it as a sales process, and it is technically a sales process, but we will never offer someone to work with us, and we've turned people down unless they fit our criteria as well of what we're looking for, our ideal clients. We need to know that we can actually help them. We need to know that there's problems that they've got that we can fix. And something that really opened my eyes to this was we were at an event in Manchester and Daniel Priestley was there. You're probably aware of him now because he's been on every podcast in like 2025. I think he was on Diary of a CEO 5 times, but he's worth tens of millions of pounds and he's very successful. And I got the chance to ask him this one-to-one, and he actually said that the key thing for him when I think it's called Dent Global, his consultancy firm, and someone was inquiring with him, and it was a big company, and they wanted to work with him for consultancy. And before he even spoke to them, he just sent over a questionnaire, which was about 45 questions long. Okay, and this was basically a consultation form, and they immediately, after filling in that form, they said, "We already feel more connected to you." Because I think they'd inquired with like 2 or 3 other big consultancy firms, and they just wanted to go ahead with it straight away. And they said they can help them without even having to look at anything they're doing. So, offer before diagnosis. They need to be able to diagnose first. If I'm to ever help someone, I need to know that there are problems I can fix. And in Daniel Priestley's case, there he probably had a list of 45 questions, and that would highlight to him the areas, the weaknesses, the strengths, what needs work, what is the key constraint. And something Alex Hormozi talks about, and he talked about at the event in Vegas, he said that it's the theory of constraints. You need to identify the biggest constraint that's got the biggest leverage, that's going to make the biggest impact. So Yeah, if someone is not doing that with you, because they're the expert, they've walked the walk, they're on the other side of that conversation. If they don't ask you enough questions about your business, how it runs, the overview, the bird's eye view, and they can't confidently say, yes, like this is a problem, you know, your leads are a problem, the book call ratio to close is a problem. If like they can't see those numbers and say, that's what we need to fix, and I know exactly how to fix that, I don't understand how they would possibly be confident that they can help you. They might be able to help you, but how can they be confident? So that's what I would be looking for as well. Is like how many questions are they asking me? Are they taking a massive interest in me? Funny enough, I'm not going to name names on this one because he's a high profile guy. He's got over 2 million followers, and I'm not going to say who he is. But we had a consultation with him, and he pitched us 75k, right, for the year, which doesn't sound too bad when you split it over the year, like seven grand a month, but which wouldn't have been too bad. But the way he pitched it, he spent 2 hours on the call with us. 2 hours, which we didn't even expect, like 20 minutes. It was like out of the blue. We were having a call with this guy. 2 hours goes by, and the guy is just talked the whole time. I think he asked maybe 1 or 2 questions, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like the whole time, it was like talking to us, telling us what he's done, what he's going to do, what we could do, like how big we could get, and yeah, it was just crazy. It was just like gassing us up, and just talking about what he's done as well. And obviously, it's the dream the dream outcome is talking about all the things he's done, which he knows a lot of people would want to achieve. So we just left that call, and we were like, that was crazy. I feel like even if we paid him the 75 grand, we wouldn't even be able to get a word in. Do you know what I mean? So that goes to just prove that point that you need to make sure that they are diagnosing you before they offer you something. How can they offer you a solution without even giving you a diagnosis first? So I'd look for that. And then number 4 is where we get into start to think about the ROI, which we'll get to. Is it DIY? Is it done with you? Or is it done for you? So those are the 3 options really when it comes to a coaching process or a mentorship or anything like that. Now, if it's purely information you need, you don't need any accountability with implementation or help at all, then sometimes it can be completely DIY. You can jump on a call. I think Grant Cardone, who's a multi-billionaire, talked about this with Alex Hormozi, where Alex Hormozi paid him over 100 grand for an hour. And they got on the call, and the call only lasted 20 minutes because Alex Hormozi said, right, I've got everything I need. I know, I just need to go and execute now. So he'd asked him the questions, he'd got the information, the new information, and then he just went and executed. So, yeah, this is, you need to identify what you need, like what you think you need, and what actually are they offering you with a presentation, because this is where expectations can get mismatched as well, and then you can be disappointed. So if you're expecting done for you, so if you're investing what could be a lot of money to you at the time, where it could be a 10k program for the year, it's a hell of a lot of money to you. It might be all the money you have, and then all of a sudden you realize that's only for 1 call per month, and there's no implementation, like no execution on their side, which could be fair to them, but if the expectations aren't set, then you're going to be disappointed and you're going to potentially struggle with that. So you need to identify first of all what you think you need, and they obviously are going to diagnose you, and then they're going to offer you a solution, and you need to be fully understanding the solution before you commit with the money, because you might be disappointed, like I said. So I would consider what you need, and then make sure you're clear on what the offer is actually for the service. Then that's when you can start to calculate the figures. It needs to make sense. It needs to make logical sense as well from an ROI perspective. Now, this is person dependent really, because it's how much are you willing to pay for the amount of money you're probably going to win. If it's business, it's going to be a make money offer. Very rarely is it a save money offer. It's probably going to be a make money offer. So how much more how much are you willing to spend for how much you wanting to make, basically? And this is where it comes down to it, because a lot of people say, oh, I want to make 10k a month. But when someone says, right, the program is £1,000 a month, they're like, oh, no chance. But if it was a guarantee, like if you would literally guarantee to get there, then surely you would be willing to spend £1,000 a month to make 10k. Like, it's the same with advertising. We have to spend, a couple of £1,000 per month to bring in the revenue that we need to. Like, that's just the rules and the game of business. Not everything you make top line is what you get to keep. So you have to have expenses to make the money. And sometimes you have to spend more to then make more. And that's the reality. That's not a scam. That is just the reality. So how much are you willing to spend to learn the information to then add that extra digit to your business, or potentially just an extra couple of £1,000 per month to your business in revenue. And you need to make logical sense of that. And that is different per person. Some people are really, skeptical, and they want a 10x return. So that £1,000 a month to spend to make the 10k per month extra, like that's a huge return on investment. Very rarely will you ever get a 10x on your money, at all. So it depends on you. I mean, at the time when I first invested, the amount of money I was spending on this mentor was a large amount of money of my available cash that I was having at the end of every month. It was barely, like, it was kind of like touching even with what I was able to take home between what I had to spend extra on this mentor at the time. So I took a risk. I took a massive risk because I would rather take that risk than basically be in this bubble of not knowing what other people knew, and that was just way more frustrating than having that money sat in my bank, if that makes sense. So I felt way more comfortable spending the money to know the information rather than not knowing the information and having that amount of money that wasn't even life-changing, So yes, it was a bit of a safety net, but it wasn't life-changing money, so I'd rather spend it to learn more, and it definitely paid off. So you need to calculate that ROI that you're comfortable with and what makes sense to you. Number 6, start or scale. And what I mean by this is, what level are they actually at? So if I was to invest in a mentorship from Elon Musk now, it would be absolutely pointless for me, right? Probably not pointless, but there's no way that I couldn't pay him any amount of money anyway that would make sense for him to even focus on me for a minute. But what would he even be able to help me with in this industry at all, besides just give me a load of money and just say pack it in? There's no point. That's probably the best thing he could do. But what I'm saying is, probably the sweet spot for this is finding someone that's 1 or 2 levels above you, right? Probably 2 levels to be safe, 2 to 3 levels above you. So what I mean by that, there are levels to business, and the short levels I would see is, you've got someone that's barely getting by, making 0 to 2k a month, right? You got 2 to 5k a month. You got 5 to 10k a month. You got probably 10 to 25k a month, because there's different stages, and then 25 to 100k a month. There's like a massive jump there, because once you get to that point of scale, you're building a team, and then you're able to just push the lever down on ads, get more leads in, and you've already got that sales system in place, plus delivery system to go from 25 to 50 to 100k a month. So there's levels to the game, right? So if you're at 2.5k a month, right, and you're at that level, you're trying to go to 5k, you need to be thinking about, right, who can I get that's been at maybe 20k a month, 30k a month, that sort of level where they're still close enough and haven't been they're not that far away from where you were, but they're also not too far ahead to forget about the real struggles and the pains and the issues you're facing at that point. Now, worst case scenario, someone's never even done what you've done, and they're just telling you from a playbook. So going back to that one, have they walked the walk? Number 2, don't even go there, right? So that's start or scale. So are they good at, like, to simplify it, starting people off from 0, quitting their job and getting to a comfortable 2 to 3k a month? Or are you sitting at the level where you're doing about 10k, maybe 5 to 10k a month, and you're really struggling to just get consistently over 20k, 25k months, like consistently? So yeah, we done that for literally 2 years straight consistently, before we pushed on from there. So yeah, and the first time I hit there, I always thought, like, it's bound to drop back down. It's bound to drop back down. But you keep executing, you keep doing, you keep building. We were scaling, we were bringing in more people, and yeah, it just becomes the norm. And all of a sudden, you're like, right, we're pushing on to 30 now. We're pushing on to 40, and yeah, so that's just how it goes. It's levels to the game. Yeah, so something to think about. Number 7. The reason why I've highlighted it in red, it's a reality check. Okay, now I've left this here because I wanted to just slow it down a minute. You've got the information you need to pretty much make a good decision on whether to invest with someone. But are you looking for the secret that doesn't exist? Have you already got new information or information stored previously that you know could work, that you have not done consistently enough over a long enough period of time, tested it enough? If I ask you these questions, now, if you're a fitness coach or any sort of service, online service delivery, I want you to ask yourself these questions when I ask you in your own head, right? Because this is going to help you more than anything. 2 things for lead generation. Organic posts. How many posts did we put up last week? Genuinely. How many outbound DM conversations have you started last week with potential ideal clients that you think from their profile they match your description of your target audience? If you don't know your target audience, go below, the link will be there to figure it out for free. So do you know how many you did, and was it enough? Was it the number that you know you should be doing and should be doing consistently over, say, 6 months to give it an accurate test? Because that's the only time when you know. So if you're signing up to someone because you want new information, you want another secret, you're basically avoiding doing the boring work, doing the hard stuff that you need to do consistently regardless. And if you don't like it, if you hate it, and you've got cash available, you've got profit in the business, hire it, delegate it. You need to get someone else doing those tasks. That was one of the first things I did. I hated DMing people. I hated outbound DMs, right? So we built a strategy, we built SOPs, and we delegated it straight away. I tried so many different ways to delegate it. I hired a VA. We went to the Philippines, we went to Mexico. That didn't work out too well because of the language, and they didn't really understand the conversations, and it was kind of harming reputation. But I learned, improved the strategy, then hired locally, hired in-house, trained and managed properly. That was one of the probably things I executed on the best, and the return on that was huge, because now not only were they doing the bare minimum, they were doing it as their full-time job. So the return on that was massive. What I'm saying is, are there boring stuff that you know works that you're not doing? And if you're hiring a mentor to try and find new fancy secrets, probably nothing is going to beat the boring fundamentals done consistently and good. So I would say to you, fix them first before you go seeking new information, because you probably don't need it. You probably just need to do the foundations, the boring stuff very well. But yeah, I'll leave you with that. So make sure you subscribe if you're trying to grow a service-based business, and hopefully I will save you a lot of money and time from the lessons I've been through. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.